Welcome everybody once again. Thank you for joining us tonight. Today we are going to be talking about the college fit check essentially. So my name is Maya, and I am a moderator that works with, no, I'm not a moderator. I'm a facilitator that works with the coaches that text you guys that basically I present a bunch of different workshops throughout the year to help you guys get ready for senior year, applying to college, getting through college, and succeeding in college. So I have some moderators in the chat that will basically just be helping me make sure everything goes smoothly tonight. So you're probably going to see them chatting in a couple of times. Don't be afraid if you see someone private messaging you. It's probably one of the moderators. Yeah, but they are here to help us today. So today we're going to be talking about how we might be able to choose a college that makes sense for us, so a good fit. And the guiding question that we kind of have going on here is, how should I build my college list and how can I know if a school is right for me? So it might seem like a loaded question, but we're going to break it down a little bit in ways that might be easier for us to comprehend. Okay, so here's a little bit of the workshop overview. So like I said, the goal for today is kind of to answer that guiding question, but we're going to be doing that through thinking about like personal reflections, asking questions, and starting to think about potential schools that could be right for you. So we just did our welcome and icebreaker. Our first section is going to be what makes a good school, good in quotation marks. Then we're going to have our next section, which is building a college list, where we're going to go a little bit into what fit and match might mean in the context of applying to college. Then we're going to be talking about how your family and how they might play a role into your college decisions or application process. After that, we're going to be talking about building towards college success. So not only getting into college, but choosing a college that supports you and helps you graduate. And we're going to be doing that by talking about some school support systems, the importance of a fit, and then how you might be able to thrive in college. And then at the very end, we're going to have a tiny presentation from Sarah, who will basically just be explaining how Let's Get Ready might be able to help you to and through college, as I like to say. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of reflecting today, so get ready. Before we do that, my name is Aya. I am a second year student here at the University of Rochester. I'm a part of their dual degree program with the Eastman School of Music. So my majors are political science and guitar performance, all while being on a pre-law track. So yeah, it's always a mouthful to say, but those are my majors. I am from Brooklyn, New York. And I would say my favorite social part of college is being in a sorority. I feel like it has really just broadened my view on a lot of things. Like I've met a lot of cool people. I've gotten to meet new people every day, and I also learned how to develop myself professionally. And then my favorite academic part of my college specifically is the University of Rochester's open curriculum. So we will never have to take a class that we don't want to take, and it's all about our open curriculum. We don't really have a general education requirement. We just take whatever seems interesting to us. And so I really love that about my school. Today we are going to be having a raffle. So if you've been with us before, you know we do a raffle of the day where we give out $10 that you could use at a variety of different locations, and you're able to get 2 raffle tickets / entries for each raffle. And so the way you could do that today is by chatting in a response or question to any of the following things we're going to be doing, or unmuting and responding to, or asking a question. So you'll have multiple opportunities to do that. And if we're ever at a part of the workshop and you ask a question and I miss it, do not worry. The moderators are keeping track of who is typing in the chat, so you definitely will be seen. And then the winner is going to be announced after the workshop via email, so be on the lookout for that. And so we also have a grand prize raffle where it's kind of like an accumulating prize. So for each workshop you attend, you get 1 entry towards the grand prize. So we will need your first and last name to do that. So if you guys don't have your first and last name on Zoom, you probably will be getting a message from one of the moderators just asking for a first last name. Don't be startled if that happens. Anyways, back to it. You guys are eligible to either win $25, $50, or a $100 gift card. So come to the workshops. They're really great in terms of gaining knowledge, but you could also have a shot at $100. Who doesn't want that? Okay, so our first section, we're going to be talking about what makes a good school. And you guys are going to notice that good is in quotations there. So what does a good school truly mean? So surprise, you define what a good school is. So I want you guys to take 2 minutes to just kind of reflect on how you would define a good school or college. And like I said before, good is in quotations. There's definitely no right or wrong answer. It's just about a matter of what works for you. Seeing an answer here. For me, a good school is where you feel like you are surrounded by a community that you find supportive, that has the major you want, and offers the opportunities that you're looking for. Yeah, all really good things. It's definitely super important to have a community that you can lean on. We're definitely going to be talking about that a little bit later on in the workshop, but great answer. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds if anybody else would like to share. Also, just I want to emphasize that one person's answer could be completely different from the others. It's all subjective to each individual person. So one person's definition might not equal yours, and that is okay. I got a private message saying a good school is one where I know I will have academic supports such as tutoring and access to office hours, sorry. But yeah, it's a really good answer as well. I definitely needed tutoring during the beginning of my college experience just because it was a lot to handle at first. So tutoring was definitely helpful for me. Good equals good for you. So here just there are many motivators that go into what a good school for you is, and I like to separate them in two categories. So we have the internal motivators and external motivators. So internal motivators, oh my God, I cannot speak. Internal motivators could be stuff like following your passions, like for me, it was going to music school. For others, it might just be going to school to study for a major that is like needed for like a career that they might want to go to. Gaining new experiences. So if that's something you want to get out of college, like an internship or meeting new people, it's definitely something that can act as an internal motivation, like personal goals and experiences that you want for yourself. Higher earning potential is definitely something that a lot of people think about when going to college, and it's something that motivates them to stay motivated through college and essentially just do good throughout it. And then also being a role model for others. I know I am the daughter of two immigrants who came here and for hopes of like giving a brighter future for their kids. And I have two younger siblings, so a huge part of just like my college career has just been me kind of setting the path for my siblings and making my parents proud. But yeah, so that's some internal motivators that here's some external ones. So we have friends and family's desires for you, and that could be like your parents asking you to look into certain schools, or your friends encouraging you to apply to a certain program. Then we have school prestige. I do want to pause on this one. So the reputation of a school definitely is important. However, it definitely should not be the sole dictator on what college that you go to. Some people drive themselves crazy trying to get into like a T15 school, like a top 15 school or an Ivy League. While those schools are amazing schools, definitely shouldn't be your only goal for college, but it could definitely be a really good motivator as well. Then we have higher earning potential again. So I like how it could be an internal and external motivator depending on how you look at it. Sometimes you want to earn money for yourself, but then also there are you have to earn a good amount of money if you want to live in like a certain city, or if you just have goals that require making a little bit more money. Definitely higher earning potential is like a necessity for certain goals. So definitely works as both an internal and external motivation. And then we have social expectations as well, which kind of all go hand in hand with each other. All of these external motivators definitely really can be intertwined. Um, but yeah, research has shown that internal motivators generally have a greater impact on keeping you motivated through college. So make sure to pay extra attention to all of the internal um, motivators that you might have. Both are obviously good in their own ways, but listen to what you think is going to be more helpful for you. At the end of the day, you're going to have to be the one that goes to college and has to complete it. So listen to yourself. Next section, building a college list. So in this section, we're mostly going to be talking about how we might be able to build a college list, and 5 steps that you can take right now to build your college list. So I know this can sound like a really scary topic, but we're going to be doing a lot of reflecting on what goes into building a college list. And the goal for this section is to basically set you up with a general understanding of how to go about building your college list. And you're also going to be receiving a bunch of texts from your coaches in the next couple of weeks just to make sure that you are on track for this. And so, yeah, no worries. Might be a scary topic to really start putting together a college list. I think it definitely starts making everything feel real. But here are just some ways that we can do that. So, like I mentioned before, when I was going through like the run through of today's workshop, we have 2 kind of things that we talk about when looking for a college to apply to, and that's a fit or a match, or fit versus match. So feel free to like raise your Zoom hand if you've ever heard about any of these words, fit or match, in the context of like college applications. If you were here at our earlier workshop, you might have heard a little bit about it, but yeah, so I'm seeing some hands. Okay, love to see it. Yeah. So a fit is kind of looking like the GIF entails. It's kind of searching for, thinking about what schools you want to look for, and what you think you would like your college life to look like. Emphasize on think. As you can see here, this person is trying to fit into the pants that are obviously way too small, even though they might really want the outfit, still way too small for them. So fit is all about asking what's right for you, and fit is honestly more subjective to change than match. And so here is match. So match, you're thinking of how you and the college align with each other. So how does your academic profile compare to the average student at a school of interest? So are you a good match for that school? Like you can see the picture over there, the pictures, the halves of the picture is perfectly aligned, and hence making it a match. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. No worries if this is a little bit confusing. We're going to spend some time diving into it individually, and learning how to balance them. So let's define fit. The definition, formal definition of fit in like a college context, is a college that aligns with your needs, interests, values, and preferences. So some of these factors could be academic interests, campus culture, learning accommodations, and cost. So these are just examples. There are so much that can go into what a fit could be for you. And the key here is to, 1, be clear about what you want, and 2, be willing to do research on each school. So if we're taking a little bit of a step back, and we'll go back and dive more into some of those factors, but before I do that, I just want to take a little step back and think about it this way. You are out with your family and you're getting really hungry and you're trying to find a restaurant to go eat at. So really just exploring your options for what restaurant you want to go to. Either way, you're probably going to end up getting a meal, but you have to ask yourself, are you going to enjoy the restaurant? Is it reasonably priced? have you went to the restaurant before? Have you heard good reviews on it? And basically just ask yourself a bunch of important decision-making questions. And that's a really similar concept to fit in terms of college applications and looking for a good school. Either way, you're probably going to end up getting a meal, but you just want to make sure that the meal that you end up getting is one, reasonably priced, two, enjoyable, and three, something that you can finish. So that's my little restaurant analogy for you guys. But when going back to looking at it at a college level, so academic interest could be making sure that the college has a major that is designed for you. I believe Lena said something about that being really important to them. So something to talk about. Oops, that's embarrassing. Ignore this. But also talking about like campus culture. Let me just slide back into everything. Talking about campus culture. So what does it look like to be a student on this campus? Also talking about learning accommodations. So what might you need to do well academically if you are somebody with a learning disability? And then also thinking about the cost of college. So these are just some factors and like decision-making elements that go into this. Yeah, so you guys can take a moment to think of one of these that might be important to you. You don't have to share it. You can just write it down. But yeah, we'll just take about like 30 seconds to reflect on that. Hope you guys were able to reflect on that. Now we're going to be talking about match a little bit more. So let's define what a match is. A match is a college where your profile matches or exceeds that of the average admitted students in factors such as GPA or SAT/ACT test scores. So it mostly refers to how likely you are to get into a school, and it kind of looks at you more at like a statistical level, almost like looking at like your demographics and how you might be able to fit into a school. We're going to be talking about this a little bit more in depth in a couple of slides, but we're going to be talking about how you might be able to find a match school. And I also want to say that you can be below these averages to an extent and still be a match. Your academic and student profile may show other strengths that colleges value. So you are more than just statistics and your grades to colleges. They like to look at the overall picture of everything. So we're going to be talking about that later, but that's essentially what a match is. So academic matches support you into getting accepted into college, and a fit supports you in graduated. So why do you guys think a fit might help you in graduating college? And feel free to either unmute or chat it in. I can also go back to the fit slide if it might be helpful for anyone else. But yeah. So why might these following things help you do well in college? I got a message about costs being important to help you afford to get through college. It's definitely a really important one. Snaps to you. That was important to me, to making sure I was able to afford college, because that's the only way I would have been able to get through it. I'm getting a lot of people agreeing on the cost. Yeah. And also, guys, feel free to private message me if you don't feel comfortable sharing out loud. I have no problem disclosing your answer in an anonymous manner. But yeah, okay, let's move on. All great answers. So let's dive deeper into fit and match, and we're going to be starting about match. So school vibe. This section is a really fun one. I'm basically going to be going through a bunch of different schools and talking about like there's gonna have 3 words up on the screen, and you guys are basically gonna say if you think that this school would be a good vibe for you. So feel free to react with those emojis. I'll be participating in this one too. But yeah, here's an example slide. So Northeastern University. Students typically describe this as an ambitious university, busy, and involved. So you guys would take a look at this and say if it's something that would make sense for you, and you could just do that through Zoom emotes. So I think Northeastern would be a thumbs up for me. I really like the location that it's in. And so for me, it gets a thumbs up. What about you guys? Thumbs up. Okay, so next one, CUNY Baruch. So Baruch is typically described as business-oriented, diverse, and fast-paced. I think Baruch would be like a thumbs down for me just because I'm not the biggest fan of a fast-paced environment. I definitely like to go on my own speed. So yeah, that one would be like a thumbs down for me. Someone texted me, I'm seeing some thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. Next one, SUNY New Paltz. So for New Paltz, this is a fun one. There's a lot of different people, hippie, individual. I like New Paltz. A lot of my friends go there, so thumbs up for me. NYU is described as driven, independent, and goal-oriented. So I like NYU. I think I'd definitely go there, so thumbs up for me. Howard, work hard, play hard, very fun but goal-oriented. I think that is a perfect combination of the two. Thumbs up for me. And then finally, Temple University is described as diverse. There's no typical student and everyone is their own person. Thumbs up for me. So really looking at school vibes is a great way to kind of envision yourself going to a school. I think my favorite way to do this is by oh, I see a hand raised. Do we have any questions?
No, sorry, I did it by accident.
Oh, no worries. Okay. And back to what I was saying. Super helpful to go through like niche and look at what school vibes are. George typed in a link earlier talking, just referring you guys to the website that can help you get a look into school vibes. I also personally like to go on like TikTok and other forms of social media just because I think it's where people can tend to be honest about their experience at school. So feel free to do that in your own time. Okay, so our next section is also one that's a little bit more engaging. So you guys are going to be annotating. So I'll pause on this page for a little bit and you guys can figure out where to locate all the functions on your device. So if you're on a computer, how you're gonna annotate is by clicking the green pencil button. So the icon might be at the bottom left or under the three dots for more option as annotate. You're going to select the stamp option from the options bar, and then you're going to use either one of those symbols or either one of those stamps to make your mark. And if you're on a phone, look for the pencil icon and then look for the annotate or arrow options and use one of them to add for a symbol. So see if you guys could figure it out. Okay, I am seeing some stamps, which is a good sign. I can't find it in my computer. If you can't find it, don't worry. You can also just chat in what you want. It should be on like the little taskbar, but if it's not, totally okay. You could just feel free to like text. Okay. So, oh my God, now I can't stop texting it. So you guys can take a moment to just stamp what you think is important to you. These are all really good options. I'm seeing a lot of people stamp and also message me about like financial aid costs. It's definitely something that's really important. But as you guys can see, there isn't really one correct answer for what is good for you. It's all about what you're looking for in a school. And also these things are 100% bound to change. I think when I wanted to go to college, I was looking at schools in rural areas. I am now in a small city in Rochester, so it's all bound to change, but thank you guys for participating, and we will eventually be sending out like a little bit like a self-evaluation form that kind of helps you guys go into depth of each one of these sections. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you for participating. That was fun. Okay. So because a lot of you and a lot of college students do typically try to find a school that's a good like financial fit for them, we've decided to just kind of recover the things that we spoke about in an earlier workshop about financial fits. So if you are seeing this for the second time, here's a refresher. If this is your first time seeing this, it's basically just a little bit of a breakdown on ways to find a school that can keep it low cost and affordable for you. So we have schools with low sticker prices, and these schools can include community college, public in-state universities, low tuition schools, and tuition-free schools. Great question. Yes, we are going to send out this presentation later, and you guys will be able to click on each one of these hyperlinks to further explore each one of these schools. Then we also have schools with good financial aid. So these are schools that meet 100% of demonstrated need. So the University of Rochester, my school, is a school that does this. And basically what they do is that they analyze your financial situation and assess how much you can pay for college, and they'll meet the full amount that you would need to pay tuition. So a lot of people have a lot of aid. So need-based schools are really good schools to attend for financial aid. We also have colleges that meet demonstrated needs for undocumented students. So feel free to go back into that and look at what schools that might be. And there's also schools that have great academic merit scholarships for high performing students. So this can be schools with larger endowments and schools with full ride scholarships. There are a lot of scholarships out there. It is just a matter of looking for them. But yeah, so this slide will be sent out later on. I highly encourage you guys to come back to it and explore each one of the hyperlinks just to start getting a good idea of financial stability in college and being able to afford it. Okay, now we're going to be further exploring what a match school might be. So here is like a little bit of, here's a way to think about it, and it's breaking it down into a chart. So you have different categories. You have a safety schools, you have your match schools, which we're going to be talking about in this section, and then you have your reach schools. So what are each one of these? A safety school is a school where your GPA, SAT/ACT scores, and overall student profile exceed those of the average accepted and committed student at the school. So safety schools are called safety schools for a reason. A lot of people think of them as like a plan B. It's something to be able to fall back on. And let's say in the rare occasion that you don't get into any match schools or reach schools, you always have a safety school to be able to fall back on and know that that's somewhere you could go. So you should be applying to 1 to 2 of these. Don't spend the bulk of your college application applying to them, but definitely make sure you have at least 1 or 2 to fall back on. Then you have your match schools. So a match school is a school where you meet the expectations and have a similar profile to the average accepted student. So this should be the bulk of the schools that you're applying to. Apply to 2 to 4 of these. Also, this can be, if you want to apply to more colleges, it's the same concept. You should still be applying to more match schools and still applying to safety schools. So take these numbers with a grain of salt. It's just like a general concept. And then we have your reach schools. So a reach school is a school where you don't quite meet the expectations or have test scores or a GPA that is lower than the average accepted students. And so apply to 1 or 2 of these. I also, before we move on, I would like to say that just because you might be below the average GPA of a reach school, if you really, really do want to go to that school, you can try your best to make sure you're picking up your GPA this semester and setting goals for yourself so that when it's time to apply to these schools, you have a GPA that is closer to the one of the average student there. And so here's a really helpful tool to help you navigate this little table right here, and it's called the admissions calculator. So what this tool does is basically just give you a visual overview of what the average student profile looks like at these schools. And so it's George just typed it in the chat. Thank you so much. We have um here like all this green stuff is like the average student at the school. So most people are at a higher GPA and a higher SAT for this school. However, there are people with a lower GPA right here. This person had a 2.5 and a 1350 on the SAT. So they got accepted into the school. Then we have this person who had kind of a lower GPA and a lower SAT score, but still got accepted into the school. And then we have this person with a high GPA, low SAT, still got accepted into school. Point is that don't be discouraged by school averages. It is still possible to get into a school. Make sure you're checking out what the average looks for the schools that you're applying to, just so you know where you might fit in there. Yeah. Any questions on this? The link is in the chat. I also do want to mention that this only shows one part of your college application. We don't know how good these people's essays are. Like the people with the lower GPA and the lower SAT school might have gotten into the school because their essays were really good or their extracurriculars. So while it is an important part, your GPA and SAT might not be the only thing getting you into college. But yeah, I highly recommend checking out the admissions calculator. Okay, so now that we've explored both fit and match, let's talk about how they intertwine and work together when you're building your college list. So balancing fit and match in list building. So the goal is to balance match and fit as you start list building. So here was a given analogy for us. Think of it like you're packing your suitcase for a trip. So match, you know what's needed for the environment where you'll be in, and fit, you know your favorite clothes and what you will feel good and confident wearing. So how might these two intertwine? You, one, want to make sure you are dressing appropriate for the environment. So if you're going to a warmer setting, you might not want to bring your favorite jacket. And vice versa. If you're going to somewhere that's a little bit colder, you might want to bring warmer clothing. So make sure you're bringing it. The two can coexist with each other. Your favorite t-shirt can be a match for the location's weather. So those two can act well to complement each other. And yeah, so that's how we can start thinking about it in terms of like packing. In terms of like college lists, you might be asking, why is this important? Why do we need to learn how to pack? You think about match and fit when applying. The way that it can seem is that they are opposites to each other, but in reality, you kind of want to make them intertwine as much as possible. Find schools that fit in like a middle section of where your match and fit is. And the reason why this is so important is, one, you first want to get your foot into the door, get into college, and then two, you want to be successful. You want to do good wherever you're at. So think of match as like getting your foot into the door, and then think of fit as like being successful. So as you research colleges, look at their criteria and research the schools to see if it matches your criteria. So, like I said before, we're going to give you guys 5 steps to building a college list. So first, I would like you guys to reflect on your fit factors and get clear on your priorities for what you want in a good college. If you guys forgot what those are, remember we will be sending this out at the end of the day, so you guys can go back and look into it. Second, create an initial list of schools so you have a building block to go off of. It is of course subject to change. I'm not sure many people ended up applying to all of the colleges they had on their initial set of schools. However, it is really good to have somewhere to start. 3, make sure you have a safety, match, and reach schools on your list. You do not want to put all your eggs in one basket, have that even spread that we were talking about. Research each of the schools and then drop and add schools as needed. So for researching schools, I mean, go onto the school's website, look into things for your major or your specific interest. Look at the clubs that they offer, go on to the school's Instagram, look at the student organization's Instagrams, and pretend like you are a student at that school looking for resources and how you might be able to get them. And prepare to drop and add school. So if you really like a school, but they don't have your major, it doesn't really make sense for you to go there. So you might have to unfortunately drop that school. But yeah, researching schools is definitely super important. If you ever need help researching one, I'm more than happy to help. I'll drop my email at the end of this so you guys can reach out. And 5, before finalizing your list, reconfirm that you have a good number of safety, match, and reach schools. So we already mentioned this in number 3, but going back to this, you don't necessarily have to only apply to 1 to 2, but you just want to make sure that the bulk of your college application is applying to your match schools, then safety schools and reach schools. So match schools should be your priority, but also make sure you have safety schools and reach schools. Okay. So those are the 5 steps. Now we're going to be talking about family and college planning. So family and friends can definitely be such an important thing for us. And so I want to ask you guys, how many of you have family or other loved ones? This could be friends, whoever it might be, distant family, who have opinions on where you go to school. So if you relate to this statement, raise your hand. So I'm seeing a bunch of hands raised. Yeah, so family definitely can be a really good source of motivation and inspiration. Sometimes family and other loved ones may be able to guide us through this process. Sometimes they might not be able to. For me personally, I am a first-generation college student, so I am the first in my family to go to a college in the United States. And so I had to navigate this process all on my own. So they weren't really able to help me that much during the process. But nonetheless, they still gave me support in other ways. And I also want to say that each one of our relationships with our family is unique. And so if you don't relate to this statement, that is okay. There is no such thing as a normal family or normal experience of anything. Family does not always have to be biological. Support systems can extend beyond DNA and biology. And so finally, when it comes to what college we attend or career we pursue, our families and or loved ones may or may not have opinions. It is okay for them to have opinions. Most of the time they are coming from a place of care. However, at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that's applying to these colleges and getting that degree. They can't do it for you. You're going to be the one in your lecture. You're going to be the one doing your assignments. So as helpful as it might be, just make sure you think a lot about yourself first when applying to college. Which brings me to our next slide. Being true to ourselves. Would anybody like to read this out loud? Also, reminder that if you do unmute, you get an extra raffle ticket and you could win $10. Just throwing that out there. Catherine?
Yep, I'm gonna read.
Okay, great.
Then it said, what's most important is that we are true to ourselves. For some of us, that may mean drawing you upon family motivations or loved ones' desires for us. For others, it may mean choosing to purpose a path that is different than what our family or others may want us to do.
Yeah, thank you so much for reading that.
You're welcome.
But basically what this is telling us is that family motivations and loved ones can be such an important thing and can definitely help us. But at the end of the day, like I said before, we want to choose what makes the most sense for us as individuals. And that might not make sense to people. That is okay. Whatever feels right for you is what you should be pursuing. So definitely lean on people for support. However, like I said, remember you're your own person and you're going to be the one getting that degree. Yeah. So here's what to do when there are differences of opinion. So it is important to balance listening to ourselves and the perspectives of others. And here's just some ways you can do this. So the first way you can do this is by hearing others out. So listen and empathize with their perspectives. So see why might they want you to apply to a certain school? Why might they want you to look into a certain project or major college program, whatever it may be, and try to know that you hear them and empathize with why they might want that for you. Then it's only fair to vouch for yourself, share the why behind your perspective. What's your reasoning for wanting to go into this career field? Also, share that a college degree increases earning regardless of majors. I know that a lot of parents really want us to make as much money as possible. However, as long as you are going to college, most of the time you're going to be increasing your earnings as opposed to people who might not have completed a 4-year degree. So definitely keep that in mind. Also, hold on to your fit factors even when others don't understand them. I can completely understand that it might be tiring to constantly explain why a school might be good for you or why you might like the things that you do. Don't get discouraged. It's completely okay for you to like things that make more sense for you, that might not be traditional. Whatever it is, it works perfect for you. Also, finally, remember that no matter where you go, success is about taking advantage of the opportunities available to you there. You could do just as good in a state school as opposed to like we said before, one of the schools with really high prestige. So I know a lot of people tend to have opinions on how prestigious your school is, and while true prestige can help expand opportunities, college is what you make of it, and almost every single school will have opportunities available for you there. It's all about you taking those opportunities. You might get the same experience as you might get actually a more advantageous experience if you go to a school with less prestige but take more advantage of their resources as opposed to going to a prestigious school but not really being involved and only going to classes. So that's keep that in mind. On that note, we are approaching our first 5-minute break. So take a couple of minutes to use the bathroom, drink water. Also, if anybody has reached out to you asking for your name, it's for attendance purposes and so that we could enter you into our raffle. Yeah, so take 5 minutes. So this section, we're going to be talking about building towards your college success. So, we're going to be talking about some common challenges that students might face. Did you guys know that 25 to 30% of college students who enroll in college end up not graduating? So this can be a really scary statistic. But here are just some of the reasons people give as an explanation for why they decided to not finish college. So one is poor academic performance. So this could be consistently doing bad in classes, not knowing how to use resources. And that's one of the biggest driving features that people might find college a little bit too academic challenging. We also have people that end up leaving because they aren't exactly sure on what it is they want to study and they might feel like they're wasting time. Then we have people that end up not graduating because they can't afford the associated tuition and living expenses costs that come with colleges. And then there are people that might have to put a pause or stop college because of mental physical or mental challenges that might come with being a college student or just outside barriers. So a lot of these might sound super scary, but a lot of people will end up dealing with them. But there are ways to navigate through each and every one of these and to ensure success. So one of the ways you can do it is planning now for success. So once in college, you will have the ability to navigate past issues if they arise. So here's our reflection question. What is one thing you do now that you would say helps you academically? So feel free to chat in your response on some tools that are good for you academically. I can also think of some, take a minute or so to do that. For me, it was just having good study habits, I would say, definitely helped me academically. Having a good schedule. Someone said never wait too long to ask for help. Yeah, super good one. No, a lot of people end up regretting it later on when they don't ask for help, and avoiding procrastination. Yeah, really easy to procrastinate in high school and in college, but when you actively go out of your way to just make sure that you're taking the extra step to avoid procrastination can definitely help you academically. So really good answers, everybody. Um, so you can choose schools that provide strong support in areas that you believe will support your success. So when you're building a list of colleges, make sure that you are considering schools that complement your style of learning and things that help you. I got two other answers. So someone said learning on my own, trying to understand the concept and asking questions. That's a really good one, asking questions. Someone else said making an idea of what is your main academic goal, and this can help you to have a clear idea to follow. Yeah. So you definitely want to go to a college that has a support system to help you guys achieve every single one of these goals that you guys have spoken about. And so here's just a little bit more about how you might be able to find a school that can do that. So first step is knowing yourself. What might you need to do good? So that's everything that you guys just listed. Empower yourself. Remember, you're the one that is in charge here. You get to decide which college that you apply to, and you're going to know what is going to support you. So make sure that you just remember that you're in charge and you are the master of your own fate when it comes to college. Also, persistently research. So find out what you need to know. Go on to the college's websites, read all the tiny blueprint details that might seem irrelevant. I remember when I was applying to college, I spent hours on like the U of R's website reading about like the programs that they have for the political science major. And so I even looked at course descriptions. I looked at rate my professors for certain classes. I looked at like course planning, like which classes you'll need to be able to declare the major. I basically just rated that website essentially and um looked for how that college might be able to support me. Also, advocating for yourself, ask hard questions to anybody. This could be to yourself, this could be to college counselors, this could be to even admissions offices, but making sure you're being honest and truthful with yourself and being an advocate for yourself definitely is a really good way to kind of narrow down schools and finding an appropriate fit school for you. And hand in hand with that is listening to yourself. So the best way that you can advocate for yourself is by listening and understanding to what you do need to do good. And all of these can go hand in hand with each other. And you're going to notice a common theme I've spoken about, and it has to do with reflecting. You want to reflect a lot. So yeah, that's for this section. Feel free to go back when the workshop ends. And then we're going to be going into school supports and fits. So in the next few slides, we're going to be going deeper into, I should say, the ways that a school can provide support for you and some things you might want to consider when applying to colleges. So does the school have good academic support? So schools offer different ways of academically supporting their students. here are things to look for in a school. So you can look for free academic tutoring. You might want to go to a school with smaller class sizes. That way you could have a more individualized relationship with your professors and instructors. Um, Also, schools that have strong relationships with professors, this might be a little confusing one. For example, my school has a program or a mandate, I should say, where all professors that work at the U of R are required to do research with undergraduate students and host office hours for them. So the strong relationships with professors is definitely something that can go hand in hand with small class sizes, but can also be other stuff as well. Unique learning opportunities. So does the school have study abroad? Does the school offer like internship classes? Is there co-op opportunities where you might be able to work and learn at the same time? So look for the unique learning opportunities that differ by college. Then you want to look for accommodations for different learning styles and disabilities. I am somebody that has learning disability, and I did not realize that until later on in my high school and college search. So I do have to say that the Office of Disability Resources at my school is really helpful for making sure that I am maintaining a high GPA and helping get the accommodations that I need. So if this is something that relates to you, I definitely want you guys to um, look for how that school might be able to support you academically. There definitely can be stigmas around it, but just know that a lot of schools want to support you and make sure that you're doing what's best for yourself. Okay, so preparing for your future. Colleges and universities can offer a number of resources to help you explore and develop your post-graduation plans. So some of these you might have not heard about. These are more stuff that you will have to worry about when you're in college, but these are just some things that is good to get a peek into. So making sure your school has academic advising, which most schools will offer you an academic advisor, but going deep into who those advisors are, how exactly might they be able to support you? Like, are they meeting with you frequently? Are they helping you plan your graduation? So making sure you're looking at a school for that can definitely help you. Schools that have career centers and fairs definitely 100% help with post-grad plans. Many schools will have some form of variation of like a career fair that they do where they have professionals come in and speak to undergraduate students, and it's great opportunities for networking. Third, you can have thirdly, you can have a paid internship or research position. So if you go to a school that is a research-based institution, this is just one way to really get your foot in the door in your prospective fields. Also, internships is a great way to start developing professionally as well. And then you have co-ops and your other hands-on learning experiences. So if there's any situation where you want to learn and work at the same time, making sure you find a school that can offer a co-op or a paid internship or research, super helpful. And also work study programs. So some students might be required to do work study by financial aid. But there's also tons of work study programs that help you find a job on campus and pay for your tuition at the same time. And this all will help you in the long run post college. Um, yeah. Um, and then another thing to look at is stepping back from all the academics, having a good physical and mental health support system. So what might this look like? This could look like your school having access to a free gym or workout classes. I know my school offers like meditation and yoga classes, and we have a gym. There's also, you might want to look for schools that have free or low cost, unlimited mental health support. So making sure that colleges have social workers that you can talk to if you are dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety and don't necessarily know how to deal with that by yourself. Completely normal feelings. Many college freshmen deal with it. I don't know one who has not dealt with feeling out of place and like the adjustments to college. So a lot of schools will have like counselors available to help us transition. So I would highly look into what could be helpful for that. Then we have health-related support programs or affinity spaces on campus. So this could look like offices that cater towards working with students from a specific background. So my school has Office of Minority Student Affairs. We also have like places for queer students that help them connect with people and resources that they might need. And also going to a school that has good low cost or no insurance, no cost insurance can be super helpful as well for those that might be a little bit worried about like making sure that they can afford healthcare. So, campus culture and community. Consider what real, meaningful, and supportive community might look like for you in college, including 1, extracurriculars and student support groups on campus, 2, advocacy and activism on campus, 3, student resource centers, 4, religious life, and finally, faculty and staff involvement. So a lot of this might have just seemed like me blabbering stuff at you, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that have supported me personally. And I would definitely really say the mental health programs that my school has to offer. We offer 10 free sessions for students. And I think I was super scared to get therapy for the first time in college, but it definitely really, really, really helped me keep myself grounded and supported physically. Also, internships have helped me develop myself professionally. I currently have an internship with the City Council of Rochester, where I work as a legislative aide. And I'm really grateful that my school has had an opportunity like this for us. I'm sure many other schools offer internships. However, the U of R helped directly connect me to city council members and gave me that internship. And that definitely helped me feel really good about myself professionally and encourages my development. And then from this slide, something that's helped me is building strong relationships with professors and accommodations like I spoke about before. But for me, building a strong relationship with my professor has definitely made the difference. When I felt like I might have potentially failed or been close to failing a class, I've always reached out to my professors and talked about ways that we can help navigate that or help support me so that I don't have to withdraw from a class and I can still do good in the class. So here are just some of the things that helped me. It's different for everybody, but that's just a little bit into my life. Okay, so the last section of our workshop before we hear from Sarah about how Let's Get Ready can support us is thriving in college. So this section's a little bit more fun. We're gonna talk about what can really help us stay happy and motivated throughout college. So thrive. To thrive means to prosper or to flourish. So if you envision yourself thriving in college, what do you imagine it looking like? So take out a piece of paper or pencil or the notes app on your phone or a document on your computer if you're on one, and reflect on this prompt. During my time in college, I will want to blank and then fill in the blank. And you can think of things like things you'll do for fun, the type of community you want to have, things you're excited to learn, ways you can grow as a person, and personal and professional goals. So just take a minute or two to write that down, and you don't have to share it, just something to reflect on. I hope you guys were able to write something down. Your answer might change for this throughout time, but it's definitely really one of those reflective questions that can help find a good place for you. And so now Sarah's going to be taking over and talking about support next year, Core Plus. So we talked about building a school list and deciding what colleges are right for us. Now, next year, you're going to be going deeper into that process, and you're going to have to make a final decision on where you want to go once you get your acceptance letters. It can be super helpful to have extra support. I had extra support as a Let's Get Ready student. I did Let's Get Ready, and they definitely helped me make a college decision. So we're just going to be talking about 4 Plus now. So Sarah is going to be sharing the different support options that you will have available to you from Let's Get Ready next year. So Sarah, you can take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you, Aya. Hi everyone. My name is Sarah. I am a program manager at Let's Get Ready. I work with your facilitators, Aya and Angela, who have been presenting these workshops. And I also work with your coaches who have been texting you around preparing for college applications. Today I'm going to tell you more about what kind of support Let's Get Ready has for you when you are applying for college during your senior year. Our overall goal is to help you transition from high school to college, from the very start with college applications to the very end when you are finished and you are enrolling in college and picking your housing or classes. And then from there, you'll move on to our success program. So these are the programs that we have for our high school students. You all are current juniors, so you are in our Access Core, and some of you might be in our SAT Prep program. But just to summarize, in case you just joined us, Core is where you receive text messages from a college student coach. And we also invite you to our monthly-ish workshops. And the SAT prep program is for students who are interested in receiving SAT prep classes to help them prepare for SATs. So once you are in your senior year of high school, you'll transition to our senior program. And here there are two different levels. There is Core and Core Plus. In Core, very similar to what you are getting now, you'll get weekly messages. And just a note, these are scheduled ahead of time, so your coaches aren't necessarily writing these messages and texting them. Sometimes we do ask for their input or their experiences that they want to share, but these are crafted by a LGR staff and then scheduled out every week. But once you text back or mention anything at all, your coach is the one responding and reading your messages. And then in the Core Plus program, it's a lot more personalized and a lot more high touch. So you are not only getting text messages that are personalized and written by your coaches, you are also going to get monthly calls and emails. The coaches on the Core Plus side craft and send their own messages, and they'll be personalized to your journey and where you're at with everything. And a major difference I want to point out between Core and Core Plus is that Core coaches have anywhere from 700 to 1,000 plus students on their caseload. So it can be a little hard to keep track of your progress and provide specific follow-up. But so essentially, if you don't mention or like initiate any like needing some sort of support or kind of seek help from your coach, it can be hard for your core coach to be able to identify that and kind of help you through it. And in the Core Plus side, coaches have anywhere from like 30 students less. And so it's easier for them to track students progress and follow up more regularly because there's not a lot of you to keep up with. So they're able to be really personalized and specific with their support. This isn't to say that, core is terrible or core coaches do any less work. It's just a little hard to, keep track of everything that you've said. So definitely reaching out and letting your coach know what you need help with is helpful in core. And core plus coaches will be kind of on top of you, making sure that everything's done and that you are on track essentially. All right, next slide. I am going to go a little bit more in depth about each of the programs. So in core, you would be typically automatically enrolled into this unless you opt in for Core Plus. And so some of the support that you receive in this program is weekly text from our team with reminders, tips, and resources to help you navigate the college and financial aid applications and just check-ins to see how you're doing overall. Whenever you respond to those weekly texts, your college student coach will be there to respond, support, and answer any questions that you have. Some additional things that my coaches have been doing this year is reviewing essays, meeting over Zoom to go over essays or any other application portions. So coaches can do a little bit more if you request it, but typically it is just tech support. And on the next slide, you'll see an example of a core text. So this is written and crafted by a Let's Get Ready staff member. Sometimes we get mistaken for bots, but that is a-okay. We are here to ensure that you know that we are real people. We are reading your messages. But in this example, our texts typically aim to inform you about something in relation to your college application timeline. We also encourage our students to engage with their coach. So sometimes we'd ask specific questions around your goals, plans, or just like a fun icebreaker. We want students to feel comfortable enough with their coach to ask any questions that they may have, but we also want to make sure that you're on track and doing good overall. So this text here is providing some information about reviewing financial aid award letters. And then we provided a link to help them understand the letter because the language can be intimidating or confusing when you get award letters. And on the next slide, Core Plus is a lot more in-depth and personalized to each student, like I mentioned. So if you think you'll want more personalized and in-depth support through your college and financial aid applications, then I encourage you to sign up for Core Plus. The Core Plus coaches will be your own dedicated college student coach. They'll get to know you, you get to know them, and this really helps them guide you through the process in a more personalized and pointed way. They do all of this by personally checking in on you with text messages. They'll schedule monthly video or phone calls with you to make sure that you're on track, as well as address any other concerns that you may have. They'll send emails with additional resources or scholarships. And then they'll also be able to keep tabs on anything that you've mentioned and follow up with you regarding those things. So if you mentioned an upcoming event, you have applications due soon, any competitions or goals, they're able to track and follow up with you. But essentially, however much you put into your communication with your coach, you'll receive just as much from them, if not more. And that goes across both programs. So if you're putting effort into it, your coaches will do the same. But really, this Core Plus program is for students who want a high-touch relationship with a trained college student who can guide them step by step through the college and financial aid application process, as well as really just mentor them throughout their senior year so that they are all around ready for the transition into college. And students who sign up for this will be matched with their coach in September. On the next slide is a student testimonial from last year's survey. It's one of many that we get that speaks on the impact of having a Core Plus coach. So this student said, the whole college process seemed overwhelming at first, but my coach was motivating. Whenever I was confused about something, I would ask her, and before I knew all of the steps, I was done with the application process. And this is just a quick example on the next slide, is a quick example of a Core Plus text. So this coach is checking in on their student personally. They sent a general text to just kind of see how the student was doing and where they're at now with their application process. And after the student responded, the coach took a moment to celebrate them. They referred back to something the student mentioned before. And then they're able to track that the student completed that FAFSA and CSS profile for Drexel. So now we're going to move on to the next school they're working on and things like that. On the next slide, a little bit more data for any of my data-friendly people. This is feedback that we've gotten from our mid-year survey this year. This is from our current Core Plus seniors. So a high percentage of our students agree that they have a positive relationship with their coach and that they would recommend LGR to other students. And then from all of these comments and feedback from them, we can see that coaches' support can be very thorough and specific to each student. And then meetings can help students work on tasks together with their coach. And then the next slide is a sign up QR code. I'll also throw it in the chat. Ooh, awesome. It is in there multiple times. So feel free to sign up if you want a Core Plus coach, if you want more personalized support. If not, you can stick with us in Core and we'll support you just as great as we can too. There's a question in the chat. When is the deadline for Core Plus? There is no deadline. We take as many students as we can until spots fill up. As of now, it is on the lower end because we just started recruitment. So you have some time, I would say. But definitely do it sooner than later. That way you don't forget or lose the link. Any other questions? No problem. I am not the program manager for Core Plus, but Daisy and Joe are, and they are amazing people. So feel free to take a picture of this slide or go back to the slide deck later if you have any questions for them. I'll also be here at the end if you all have any questions, but I'll pass it back to your facilitator, Aya.
Thank you, Sarah. And I would highly recommend both of the programs. I still have a Let's Get Ready coach. I'm not sure if that falls into Core Plus, but I still get calls from my coach every once in a while. So I would highly recommend it. But we have arrived at the end of today's workshop. So we spoke about what you should be doing in the coming weeks and months to start getting ready for college application season. So thinking about success, thinking about fit and match, making sure you're applying and getting a list of safety, match, and reach schools, and really diversifying your options for college. And taking all of these steps that we talked about will just really help strengthen your profile and will more than likely result in you making a better impression on colleges. And it will also significantly decrease your stress next year when you go fill out your applications. Trust me, you will thank yourself for it. I wish I started earlier on making a college list because I put all my eggs in one basket and I applied early decision to one school, and I spent my winter break searching for a bunch of schools. So I definitely would have went back and applied and looked for more schools before senior year. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, I am more than happy to meet with you to build a college list, start talking about concerns. I would love to meet with you guys if time allows. But yeah, that's my email, and I'd again reach out for anything. Feedback. So your feedback will really help us make workshops better. So feel free to scan this and fill it out. Give us some feedback. Definitely helps us help you.